Ladies, I know independence is something many of us value, especially after raising kids, supporting partners, and giving so much of ourselves. But I'm going to say something that might surprise you. Some women should never live alone. Why? Because as we grow older, the rules change, and your well-being might just depend on who you are and how you live. So stay with me until the end, because one of these types might be you or someone you love. And don't forget to comment your thoughts below. Do you live alone or know someone who does? And subscribe for more wisdom from your favorite old woman. 1. The overgiver who never asks for help. Let me tell you a little story about women like me, and maybe like you, we're the givers. Always have been. We raised children, sometimes ours, sometimes others. We supported husbands through careers and dreams. We dropped everything when a neighbor needed help or a friend was in crisis. It became our identity, being there. But you know what we never really learned? How to ask for help ourselves. I remember when I had my first fall in the garden. It wasn't anything serious, just a twisted ankle and a bruised ego. But as I sat there on the damp grass, clutching a rake and trying to hold back tears, the thought hit me like a freight train. There's no one here to help me. You see, women who give endlessly often get used to being the strong one. Even when we age and our bodies begin whispering or shouting that we're not invincible anymore, we still keep pushing through. We don't want to feel like a burden. We don't want to admit we need anyone. But here's the truth. Living alone isn't strength if it puts you in danger. If you're the kind of woman who has a hard time asking for a ride to the doctor, or won't admit when you're too tired to cook, or shrugs off symptoms because you don't want to bother your children, living alone could slowly chip away at your well-being. Overgivers need presence, not supervision, not babysitting, just someone nearby to say, "Hey, are you okay?" Someone to bring you a cup of tea when you won't ask for it yourself. Someone to see you even when you try to be invisible. If that's you, my friend, don't let pride keep you isolated. You've earned the right to receive. 2. The deeply social butterfly who pretends she's not. Oh, I know this woman very well because I used to be her. You know the one. Everyone always said you were the bubbly one, the glue of the group, the fun friend. You threw birthday parties, ran church bake sales, never missed a family get-together. You fed on laughter, hugs, and stories. But somewhere along the line, life changed. Maybe you lost your spouse. Maybe friends moved away. Maybe your children got busy with their own lives. And slowly, without really meaning to, you quieted down. You told yourself, "I'm fine on my own. I enjoy the peace. I don't need people as much anymore." But let me ask you, when was the last time someone made you laugh until your stomach hurt? When was the last time you had a spontaneous conversation in your kitchen that wasn't with your toaster? Women who are naturally social don't just like people, they need them. We thrive on that emotional energy. And when we're alone too long, we don't always notice the change at first, but it creeps in. We stop doing our hair. We eat whatever's easiest. We turn on the TV just to hear a voice in the room. I remember my friend Evelyn. She used to be the life of our neighborhood gatherings, danced like she was still 30. Then she moved to a smaller town to be closer to nature after her husband passed. Within a year, her sparkle dimmed. Her voice got quieter. Her eyes didn't shine the same. When we reconnected, she said something I'll never forget. "I didn't realize how lonely I was until I heard my own laugh again." If you were born to be among others, if connection fills your spirit, don't force yourself into solitude. Shared housing, senior co-living communities, even just a roommate or nearby friend can make all the difference. We're not meant to do life in silence. 3. The worrier who overthinks everything. Oh dear, this one hits close to home for many of us. You know the feeling. You lock the door, then check it again. And again. You hear a creak in the night, and suddenly You're convinced someone's in the house. Your knee hurts a bit, and your mind jumps straight to bone cancer. Sound familiar? If so, you're not crazy. You're not broken. You're just wired to worry. But here's the danger. When a worrier lives alone, her thoughts echo louder, without someone nearby to say, "You're overthinking," or "That's just the pipes," or "Come sit and breathe with me." The fears start to grow roots. I once spent a week at home alone when my daughter went on a trip. And I tell you, by day 3, I had Googled early signs of dementia 10 times. I was convinced I was forgetting too many things. But when she came back and we talked, I realized it wasn't dementia. It was isolation feeding anxiety. If your mind tends to go to worst case scenarios, or if you feel safer when someone else is around, just in case, then living alone may not be the kindest thing you can do for yourself. This isn't about weakness. It's about recognizing what kind of support helps you be your healthiest self. And if that means a live-in niece, a friendly housemate, or a senior residence with caring staff, then that's a smart move, not a shameful one. We women have carried so much family, finances, emotions for decades. It's okay to set that down and choose peace over pride. 4. The woman with health red flags, but hides them. Now, if you're a woman who's been brushing off those little signs, the dizzy spells you chalk up to standing too fast, the memory lapses you laugh off with, "Oh, senior moment," the occasional chest flutter, sore hip, or vision blur you say is just age, then please hear me out, because this one might just save your life. See, we women are masters at hiding discomfort, especially older women. We've been told all our lives to be tough, to push through pain, to not make a fuss. So we do exactly that, even when our bodies are clearly waving little red flags at us. I remember my dear friend Elaine. Strong, stoic, fiercely independent. She lived alone well into her 70s. But I noticed little things. She started walking slower, holding on to furniture, when no one was watching, fumbling for words sometimes. When I asked, she'd laugh and say, "Oh, I'm just getting old." Well, one evening, she fainted in her kitchen. No one found her until the next morning when a neighbor noticed her newspaper still sitting on the porch. She was lying on the floor all night, confused, dehydrated, and frightened. It turned out her blood pressure had been unstable for weeks, and she hadn't told anyone, not even her doctor. She said, "I didn't want to be a bother." Let me say this clearly to every woman reading or watching. You are not a burden. You are not a nuisance. You are worthy of care. But living alone when you have untreated or hidden health concerns is like walking a tightrope with no safety net. Because here's the truth. One minor incident can turn into a major tragedy when no one's around. A fall in the bathroom, a missed dose of medication, a stroke that goes unnoticed until it's too late. If you've had even one close call, or if you're managing multiple conditions, high blood pressure, diabetes, balance issues, memory trouble, living alone could be a silent danger. That doesn't mean you need to give up your independence. It could be as simple as having a trusted roommate, moving in with a relative, or finding a cozy assisted living community with emergency support built in. The goal isn't to take your freedom away. The goal is to make sure you get to enjoy that freedom safely for years to come. So don't keep those red flags to yourself. Dear one, they're trying to protect you. 5. The one who's still grieving, even if she won't admit it. Now, this one's tender, because grief doesn't show up the way people expect. It's not always sobbing into your pillow or visiting a grave site every week. No, sometimes grief is quiet. It's sitting at the dinner table and realizing there's no one to pass the salt to. It's folding laundry and finding his old shirt. It's hearing a joke and thinking he would have laughed at that. And when you live alone, those moments, they echo. Let me tell you about Judith. She lost her husband of 47 years. He passed suddenly, heart attack. She was a rock at the funeral, dressed beautifully, spoke kindly, held her head high. Everyone said, she's handling it so well. But once the casseroles stopped coming and the sympathy cards stopped arriving, she was left alone with the silence. At first, she insisted she was fine. She even started doing puzzles to keep her brain sharp. But she slowly stopped answering the phone. She said it was too tiring. She quit the church choir, said her voice wasn't what it used to be. She'd go days without speaking to anyone. But when I visited one afternoon, I found her sitting in the living room, talking to a photograph. Not in a sweet, sentimental way, but truly talking because she didn't feel like she had anyone else to talk to anymore. Grief, especially the kind you bury deep, grows in solitude. It becomes something else. Depression, isolation, hopelessness. And sometimes it looks like normal aging to outsiders. But deep down, it's a woman who's quietly fading. Now hear me clearly. There is no timeline on grief. You are allowed to feel it for years. But if you're grieving, especially if the person you lost was your life partner, your caregiver, your daily companion, you need people around you, not just therapists or doctors. I mean real, warm, human presence. A roommate to share tea with. A granddaughter who lives nearby, a friend down the hall who knocks every morning just to say hello, even a dog, honestly, anything that breathes and loves and reminds you that life is still worth living. Living alone with deep grief is like closing the curtains on a beautiful world you once loved. But you don't have to stay in the dark. Let the light back in through friendship, through company, through connection. Because even if the person you lost is irreplaceable, you are still here. You still matter. And you deserve to be surrounded by life, not left alone with only memories.